Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm just going to take you through the GDPR personal data records management system, and just to have an overview of how that works. So let's just open it up here. So here you have on the main dashboard, you have two options just to launch the main records of processing activities form, and then the ROPA contact details. So let's just jump into the form here so we take a look at what we have. So here you have a blank form. All of these fields here, business function, purpose of processing, these all map to requirements under GDPR and other GDPR derivative type laws that require details about the description of processing, categories of individuals, etc. So in this form, you can enter in those type of details. We have some sample records down here. If you get the product here, we have include 20 or so records to get you started. And once you're done with them, you can clear them out there with the initialized data. But if you're adding a new record in here, you basically get all your functions here for adding in details. You can do multi-select as well here if you're checking to multiple, in this case here, names of third countries, and basically go through all of these details, get questions about lawful basis for processing, basically be anything that maps to the principles and rights associated with GDPR or data privacy type laws. You're basically putting on all your details in here across these tabs, and then if you're processing any special category type data as well, it's all included in there. So then at that point, you can, once you've made those changes there, then you can go ahead and save the data. You can reset the form, print out the data, even email the record, and send a copy of any records to a third party, let's say a auditor or investigator or some kind of thing, so you can share that kind of information. That's a password protected field, by the way, or feature rather, that send the ROPA worksheet. So down here you can see the search functions for details. Just double click and you'll get the data loaded up here for previous records that are stored in the database. Any changes that you made here, go ahead then and save them. So here's a nice feature. You know, one of the benefits of using a form-based system like this, first of all, it's economical. I mean, these type of features are usually found in high-end type systems where you pay monthly subscriptions. That's not the case with this product. It's just a once-off purchase. You get that consistency with the form. One of the problems that companies run into, particularly the main problem, I guess, that companies run into with regulators is a lack of transparency. And that usually boils down to inconsistent records, where there's a lack of accuracy and completeness over records. So when investigators come in and they find that, you know, you're missing the details, then you get punished in terms of fines and so forth. So when you use a forms-based functionality like this, you're going to get that consistency in the record handling. You're not going to skip fields, etc., which, as I said, could be quite costly. It's important to mention here that all of these records are time-stamped. So when we look at the metrics in an upcoming worksheet tab, you can calculate when records were last updated and who did the updates. It's an important feature in terms of accountability and mapping to GDPR. So that's an overview of the form here. There's other buttons down here, you know, full screen mode and information and support and so forth. But I think I've covered then the main things here. So this, it's kind of like a CRUD system. So CRUD stands for create, record, update, and delete. That's what the idea behind this form was. When you look at what's provided by the government agencies such as the ICO or, you know, any of the Office of Attorney Generals and stuff like that in the US, the information, you get a bare bones spreadsheet. You don't get this. You're left to have to navigate creating stuff from scratch, which can take quite a long time. So let's jump out here a second, and you have another section here for the updating the contact details. These are pre-filled at the moment, but you can get the picture here. You can enter your controller name, DPO name and the organization, and then if there's a representative that you want to appoint, again, you can save in these records and share them with any necessary third parties. So let's look then at the metric side of things. There's some useful metrics in here. As I said, you know, when you get spreadsheets from authorities, they don't have any of this type of stuff. You basically have to go and create it yourself. But here you've got the total number of records in the file. So there's 20 here in the sample section. You can get the breakdown of who created the records. There's program here in the back end. By the way, it's a back end coding by VBA. So there's smart coding in the background, which lets you perform some of these functions, VBA type coding. So here you got the record created by an aged record report. Is kind of important. So you can look at the records that haven't been updated. The max one here in this sample is 274 days, which could be considered a long time between updating a record. And then you've the averaged delta between updates. So this would help you keep on top of outdated type records, so that you get a part of your KPI reporting for your organization. So then jumping on to the next tabs, this is the raw data that was fed into the form. The form loads this type data. You can either change the data from the form, or you can go here to the individual worksheet and update it from here. These are the raw records that I mentioned. Again, the form stores this information. These are sample records, as I mentioned. There's about 20 sample records that you get out of the box, which stores all this data. So it's kind of like a lightweight database, if you will. Just want to show you that at the end, it shows you the time stamping, you know, the created by, updated on. So this time stamping can be quite useful. As I said, it's used to feed the information for the metrics updates. So there's a calculation here between when the records were updated. So this would be 274 days from this period to that period, between when the delta between the record being initially created and updated. So then we move on to the print section. So this is an example. You saw on the main form that you can print a record. Well, this is what it looks like when in the print format. So this will go to your printer in this type format, which is a lot more presentable than if you were trying to print out a raw worksheet with columns out to here. Could be quite complex. Then the other thing I want to show you is the raw data. These are the drop-down fields. And the beauty of these is that there's multiple mappings. So to different privacy standards. It's not just GDPR, it's not just the data privacy laws such as CCPA. There are other laws, obviously, newer laws, GDPR derivative type laws around the world, Canadian laws, etc. Well, Canada is not old, but some of the ones in the Middle East are newer laws. So it includes some of the data around here. So like I mentioned, KSA, PDPL is a newer type law. So you have all your drop downs here. So this is a good starting template. If you were trying to create these kind of information, it would take you quite a while. This is where the heavy lifting is kind of done for you. You can change all of these. Obviously, you come into this field values worksheet and change these to your environment. These are samples kind of to get you started. Then there's just accounts worksheet here. This is some of the accounting that's done for the metrics dashboard. So that's an overlook of the form. We'll just go and take a look then and recap what some of the benefits are for this particular product. So what is it? The ROPA Personal Data Records Management System is an Excel-based tool which provides a faster way to enter, retrieve, and share personally identifiable records in a consistent way. The system provides you pre-built data sets for each entry field, extensive sample records for your reference. You could print, export, and email functionality, which is built in, which is essentially often only found in expensive software packages. The system can be used with many privacy frameworks, as we saw, and has many very useful metrics. Has a useful metrics dashboard, which gives you KPI reporting These KPI reports include things such as the number of records, the length of time between record updates, and a breakdown of who did what within the system. So what's the problem that this product is trying to solve? Well, many ROPA templates are provided as a bare bones spreadsheets by government authorities. I mentioned the ICO recently, but there are others which offices of attorney generals which are just not up to task. So those type of things available from government resources have no business intelligence, reporting functionality, or methods to ensure data entry is accurate and complete. This means that PII record keeping is much more likely to trigger an issue in the case of a breach or legal case when regulatory authority investigations are underway. So a sound method is required to handle data entry consistently every time with some level of tracking and reporting so you can identify gaps and overdue tasks. So this is getting back to the idea that you need to have that consistency that you get with a forms-based solution. You're not skipping data or making mistakes leading to inaccuracy of data that's being stored in your organization. And so if there is a breach or some kind of an incident and investigators or auditors come in and take a look, it's like, oh, you've been missing a load of your information here in your records of processing activities. We're going to fine you, some X amount of punitive level higher than it normally would be. So then what are some of the key features here? Well, the main form allows up to 42 different elements of personal data record to be recorded. All the records are time-stamped when saving and updating, giving you oversight of aged records which may need to be reviewed. Most of the fields contain drop-down values, as we saw, and some multi-select fields with pre-configured selection options to speed up data entry and improve consistency of record data. Then there are drop-down values which include personally identifiable information which map to multiple data privacy frameworks. The form includes quick methods of record retrieval, pre-formatted printing, saving, secure sharing, and editing functions which are commonly found in more expensive systems. The system is a lot more economical than some of the licensed software out there, the enterprise license, which really can rob you in terms of pricing. And then includes a set of pre-built sample records with sample categories and other record data which allows you to familiarize yourself with the process. Then it includes a metrics dashboard showing a number of records, age records, and user activity. And then lastly, it includes a contact form to update the controller, processor, and DPO details. So I hope that helped you with the understanding of the ROPA process. If you have any questions, the email is info@data-privacy.io. Thanks for watching.